With Warframe's latest update, the Valis Undermind, which has introduced a new Warframe called Nokko, who is basically a mushroom Warframe with some pretty interesting abilities. I'm Tipsy, and today I will be going over everything you need to know how to farm and craft Nokko in Warframe, so let's just get right into it. But before you can actually start to farm Nokko, you will need to have completed the new war quest in Warframe. And that is because the area where you actually obtain Nokko in only unlocks after finishing the new war quest. So if you haven't done that yet, just follow the main quest line in your codex until you actually have completed the new wall. To farm Nokko, we will have to head into Fortuna and find the NPC called Nightcap, who you can fast travel to using the fast travel menu, or you can walk straight into the vent right behind the spawn area in Fortuna. Nightcap will then have bounties for the new area called the Deepmines, and in these bounties you will be able to obtain many different things, such as the Ferroglide, which is the main currency used at Nightcap. You will also be able to gain random resources, arcanes, Nokko's blueprint parts, his weapon blueprint parts, and even an arc gun arcane adapter, all of which are in the bounty rewards, and you can just see them by right-clicking on the different bounties to be able to see the rewards you can actually gain in those. So just by completing these bounties, you will then have a chance to find Nokko parts, as they can be gotten from both the rare but also the uncommon rewards, as well as the bonus drop at the end of the bounty if all of the bonus objectives were done correctly. The first bounty here will have the Nokko chassis as an uncommon and rare possible reward, with all three bounties having the Nokko main blueprint as a rare reward as well. The second bounty will have the systems as the uncommon and rare possible rewards you can obtain in that bounty, while for the third bounty you will have the chance to get the Neuroptics as an uncommon and rare possible reward in this bounty. Currently there's 3 different bounties and then a steel path version. You will have to complete the first bounty to unlock the bounty NPC at the main elevator in Fortuna as well. This will then give you access to start the bounties at another place, making it a little bit easier to actually quick start the bounties over at the elevator entrance. As you can see here, there's this little mushroom where you can then start bounties from instead. And this will also unlock the next bounty, so you'll have to complete like the first bounty, then the second bounty, then the third one to unlock the different bounties and so on. So basically to farm Nokko, you'll just have to run bounties in the Undermind. First you'll run the first bounty until you get the chassis, then the second bounty until you get the systems, and the third bounty until you get the Neuroptics. And if you get lucky while doing so, you will also get the main blueprint as a main reward from the rare possible rewards that can actually drop in any of the different bounties, which is pretty simple overall. But luck is a factor, and that is why we have a pity coin and also a shop, which we'll come into now. As these videos do take quite a while to make, it would be greatly appreciated if you hit that like button, and also you could subscribe if you want to see more guides for Warframe when they actually come out right here. So just hit that button right here. So Nightcap will actually also have a shop where you can buy Nokko's parts, the weapon parts, and even some other items, but this will require you to actually level up your Nightcap standing to be able to purchase some of these parts, as they are locked behind the Syndicate. So for Nokko, you will need to reach the rank of Gardener, which is rank 4 with Nightcap, and all of these parts can then be bought with something called the Ferroglide, which we talked about earlier, and it is a common reward which you get from the Deepmine bounties. So these kind of work like a pity system if you don't actually get lucky in obtaining all of Nokko's parts before gathering enough mushrooms to actually be able to level Nightcap up to rank 4. So how do we actually level up the Nightcap Syndicate, as this Syndicate is a little bit different from other Syndicates in Warframe, as this will actually not require you to farm different standings to actually be able to rank up the Syndicate. Instead, Nightcap actually levels up as you complete something called the Field Guide, which you can also find when talking to Nightcap. And you can then see these things here where you will see a lot of different mushrooms that you can discover and also analyze. And all of these mushrooms can be found in the Deepmines area in the bounties. So the mushrooms will first have to be discovered, which happens automatically when you actually obtain the mushroom for the first time in the Deepmines. And then to actually analyze the mushrooms, which is how you actually level up your Nightcap standing, you will need to spend a few of the same type of mushrooms over 3 different tiers until you have maxed out the analyzation. And doing so will then give you a number at the Analyze tab, which is directly connected to how you actually rank up Nightcap. And you will need to fully analyze 12 different mushrooms types to actually reach rank 4 with Nightcap, where you can be able to buy the Nokko blueprint parts. And as you can see on the tutorial tab, it will show you how many things you will actually need to analyze before you unlock the different ranks. So now that we have mentioned the mushrooms, how do we actually go about picking these mushrooms up and finding the different mushrooms in the bounties? So picking up mushrooms is actually a little bit different compared to how Void Blooms in Cerumen and the Vodka in the labs actually works, though mostly the same. In the Deepmines, you will find mushrooms as listed in the field guide scattered around the map, and you can then pick them up to discover them or also just gather more of them. They will be marked once you actually get into range, making them them a little bit easier to find. As seen here, once you get close enough, they will be marked so you can actually see and pick up the mushroom. But keep in mind that currently you yourself has to pick up the mushrooms, as it does not work like the vodka or the void blooms where one player picks it up and everyone gets it. So right now, if someone else finds the mushroom, you yourself will have to go to that mushroom to actually pick it up yourself. But maybe we'll see a hotfix making it so everyone in the group will actually get the pickup, so it works kind of like the void blooms and the vodka as currently in the different zones. As there has been some complaints about it on the forums, and I will update the pinned comment on this video if we do see a change to this feature in an upcoming hotfix or update. So be sure to actually check the pinned comment down below to see if this has been changed recently. But then again, it doesn't really do much other than if someone picks up a mushroom, you yourself will have to go to that mushroom to pick it up, and it kind of like scatters people around in a weird way, but yeah, that's about it. Another way to get mushrooms is actually by completing the bounty task, as each bonus objective you will complete will give you 1+ random mushroom at the end of the bounty, which you will pick up before extracting. So every stage in bounty you will see like a little +1, that means you will get a bonus mushroom at the end of the mission you can pick up right here. And then you will basically just get 5 random mushrooms on top of what you have gathered in the mission. And you can also use things like Golden Instinct or Orichan Eye air support to actually mark nearby treasures, which will also mark the nearby mushrooms or soma cords which you can find in the Deepmines, just to make it a little bit easier to find them around the map. So it is pretty straightforward. Do your bounties, and while doing them, be sure to explore around the bounty sites to collect any mushrooms you may find. And once the bounty is over, you will get a little bonus of the mushrooms from the bonus objective you have completed in the different bounty stages. And a little last tip, if you just need a specific mushroom, Nightcap actually sells mushrooms for the Ferrolite, so if you are just missing one mushroom for your field guide, you can pick it up in the shop and finish up your field guide. Now for crafting Nokko, we will need some resources, which might be the first time you are actually seeing them, but all of the crafting resources are fairly easy to obtain. Also, a lot of the resources will actually be gotten just by completing bounties in the Deepmines, but let's go over it. First, for the chassis, we will need 15,000 credits, 30 thermal sludge, 500 alloy plates, and 3 gallium, then 700 nanospores, and also 12 hours to craft. So for thermal sludge, you can get it as a bounty reward in the Deepmines, but normally you will have to head into Orbelis, as thermal sludge can be found in special containers, located all around the Corpus encampments in Orbelis. And what I like to do to farm thermal sludge is just quickly head over to the enrichment labs and do a quick sweep outside and inside the area, destroying all of the special containers I find on my way, and these can then drop thermal sludge, but also other random Fortuna resources which might be useful for also crafting Nokko. Otherwise, most of Nokko's resources can actually be gotten from just doing the bounties if you do enough of them. For the alloy plates, which are a common resource, you can find this on Venus, Jupiter, Sedna, Ceres, Phobos and Pluto, and in missions on these areas, enemies, containers and deposits can all be destroyed to obtain alloy plates. Also, as Venus is on the list, you can then find the resources inside the Deepmines bounties too. For the gallium, you will need to head to Mars or Uranus to actually find rare gallium deposits, and destroying these will drop 2 to 4 gallium. Also, enemies and assassination targets can also drop gallium, but keep in mind that it is a rare resource. For the nanospores, which are another common resource, you will need to head into Deimos, Saturn, Neptune or Eris, and here in these missions, enemies, containers and deposits can all be destroyed to actually obtain nanospores, and it is a common resource, so you should be able to get it fairly quickly. For the Neuroptics, you will need 15,000 credits, 50 Tepa Nodules, 10 Echowinder Anosopic sensors, then 3 Neurodes, 500 nanospores, and then 12 hours to craft finally. For the Tepa Nodules, these are open world resources which can be found in Orbelis, and usually these are growing in clusters inside caves, and destroying these will actually give you 3 to 4 Tepa Nodules each time you destroy a resource node. You might also be able to find these by destroying the special crates like when farming the thermal sludge. For the Echowinder sensors, you will need to do a little bit of fishing in Orbelis. First, head to the business to get yourself a shock prod fishing spear if you don't already have one. Also pick up some broad spectrum fishing bait, as that is highly recommended to do so. Now, to find the Echowinder fish, locate a lake in Orbelis during the warm weather, meaning that it has to be warm weather for the Echowinder to actually spawn in. If it's not warm weather, you can also go farm the thermal sludge method, where you can actually destroy the bonus crates, which will also have a chance to drop these. Then once at a lake like this, you can then throw in your broad spectrum bait and begin fishing for the Echowinder fish. Afterwards, you'll have to head to the business and then dismantle the Echowinders to basically get the Echowinder Anosopic sensors. As it is pretty simple, the only annoying thing is actually that it has to be in warm weather, as the Echowinder can only spawn in the warm weather in the Orb Vallis area. If you do want a more in-depth fishing guide for Warframe, I do have a full fishing guide that goes over everything you need to know about fishing in Warframe, as well as all of the different fish you can actually find and resources. So feel free to check that out, as there will be a link up there, as well as a link down below. For the Neuroptics, which are a rare resource which you can find on Earth, Deimos, Eris and Lua, and they can also be dropped from enemies' deposits on these planets. There's also the Lephantis boss on Deimos, which has a higher chance to actually drop them, so some players might opt into actually just doing Lephantis runs if they can clear the boss really quickly, as each of the different heads has a chance to drop Neuroptics. For the systems, we will need 15,000 credits, 40 Mitocardia spores, also 20 Gargantua spores, 250 circuits and 2 argon crystals, and 12 hours to craft. For the Mitocardia spores, these can be found in Orb Vallis in deposits, which when destroyed will then drop the spores, but they can also be obtained from the first level Deepmine bounty at Nightcap. So for the Gargantua spores, it is pretty similar. These deposits hang from giant mushrooms found around Orb Vallis, and they can also be obtained from the third bounty at Nightcap in the Deepmines. For the circuits, which is an uncommon resource which you can find on Venus, Ceres and the Kuva Fortress by killing enemies, destroying deposits, but also as Venus is on the list, you can find this resource inside the Deepmine bounties. Now for the argon crystals, you will have to head into the void, as enemies, containers and deposits can all drop argon crystals, but if you want a full guide to actually farm these efficiently, I actually just uploaded an argon crystals farming guide video. It also explains the decay mechanic, as argon crystals actually vanish over time while in your inventory, but you will just have to kill enemies in the void area or containers, or actually finding the deposits to actually find the argon crystals. Everything happens in the void here. And that covers the parts. Now just craft them and wait for the crafting timer to finish to actually get the different parts. And then once the parts are done, you will need to put everything together with 3 Orican cells, which are a rare resource you can find on Saturn, Ceres and Deimos. And these also drop from enemies or deposits in missions on these planets, which you can see here. And then just put everything together and craft it, and after 72 hours you should now have your new Nokko Warframe. And that should cover how to actually farm and craft Nokko in Warframe, and what you can do to increase your rank with Nightcap. So if you have found this video helpful or have gotten the information you came for, be sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel, which would be greatly appreciated. If you want more Warframe tips and tricks, you can also check out my other videos, as I have plenty of different Warframe guides currently on the channel. And we also do have a Discord server, so feel free to hop in there and become part of the community. Stay tuned, stay tipsy, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out. Boop.